And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us for our second half hour. Now, police officers and employees at Virginia Psychiatric Hospital failed one of their patients, according to investigators. 7 sheriff's deputies and 3 hospital employees are charged for murdering Irvo Otieno, according to his family attorney. Otieno experienced 3 days of hell in Henrico County Jail. Now, those deputies are accused of pepper spray and keeping his medications away from him. Otieno was later taken to a mental health facility after suffering mental distress. Prosecutors say he died from being fatally smothered by all 7 deputies. Once again, all 7 deputies allegedly smothered him. They are accused of holding Otieno on the ground for 12 minutes while he was in handcuffs and leg irons. This death is now starting a conversation about how law enforcement officers deal with people who may have a mental illness. Joining me now here in the studio, mental health counselors Ashanti Wolf, Senior Captain Smokey Phillips with the Afro-American Deputies League, Fort Bend County Sheriff Eric Fagan, and Sergeant Jose Gomez from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Now, this has been an ongoing discussion, guys. Sheriff, let's bring you into this. We know always for law enforcement officers, some of the most dangerous situations for them to be involved in, number one, domestic violence, and then when you have someone who's dealing with a mental health crisis, because you never know how that's going to go.
Correct. And that's why we have specially trained officers for that crisis intervention team. And it sounds like what happened here, these officers didn't have the proper training. That's what I'm hoping, that was improper training, but that's still not an excuse. From what I understand, the call was that he was going through a crisis. So they should have had specially trained officers prepared for that situation to de-escalate.
And Deputy Gomez, when you have officers, jailers, whoever may be involved, and even the medical staff there, without compassion, that's where the problem really begins. When you can't see another human being there going through a situation.
Right, and there's a difference at talking to somebody opposed to talking at somebody, and that's something we really train on at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. There's several curriculums that we teach, and one of them is active bystandership for law enforcement that was developed by Georgetown Law that talks about peer-to-peer intervention and how to talk to somebody and focus on wellness as well. And then everybody gets a CIT, some type of CIT training at the Sheriff's Office where we really focus on de-escalation, how to talk to somebody, and the difference of talking at and to.
And Smokey, I had a mentee who I mentored here in Houston, and he became a law enforcement officer and then worked in the jail. And then when he came out of that jail, he had one of the most filthiest mouths. I'm like, I can't deal with you anymore. But how do you maintain your humanity if you become a law enforcement officer and you have to be tough in the jail dealing with individuals but not lose your compassion for them?
No matter what, you always have to be professional. And mental health shouldn't be a death sentence for you if you go to the hospital or if you go to the jail. Now keep in mind, there are 26 agencies in Harris County, and the jail probably taking about 300 intakes a day. And they go to a process called CCQ, where they'll queue to see if they have any mental history. But when it comes to officers, you have to have that professionalism at all times. And like Sergeant was saying about de-escalating different situations, the sheriff mentioned about crisis teams that come out to your house. So the academy doesn't make you a bad person. Going to police academy makes you a person that wants to serve humanity. And part of humanity is not being unprofessional at any time.
Ashanti, as a mental health professional, what would you like to see more law enforcement officers do when it comes to dealing with individuals that may have a mental health crisis that's going on? Because it's volatile. You have the family there, they're in distress, then you have the individual who's dealing with their crisis, and it's a volatile situation.
Correct, and I think that you touched on it perfectly earlier, the empathy. One of the first things or the core competencies of de-escalation is non-judgment and is being empathetic. and using nonverbal language to be calm and to show that you're calm, to help calm the other person down. So I would like to see not only training, but ongoing training with specific designated tools for law enforcement to know how to respond and de-escalate. But also, like, on a wider scale, when the neighbor, like allegedly a neighbor had called to report the incident that called the police out, just information in society as a whole. Because maybe if the neighbor had more resources and information about what to do, maybe he would have called the crisis team instead of the law enforcement.
And Sheriff, when you have calls, especially 911 calls, and they're not giving you the specificity that you need to deal with that situation, could officers go into a situation where they think this is a hostile person and they don't know that there is some mental health issues going on? Should families out there who call for law enforcement 911 be more specific? Here's what I'm dealing with before you get here. One extra step could mean life or death.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And it's a joint effort. It has to be the community working with law enforcement. In Fort Bend County, we flag different homes that we know mentally ill people are there.
Oh, that's good.
It's flagged, so we get a call there. We already know the individual is there. There's a pilot program that we're doing at the Sheriff's Office now where we have a licensed person from Texana, a mental health expert, ride along with our officers to go out to these types of scenes. But as everyone was saying, it's about education. Look, they expect law enforcement officers to be a pastor, to be a psychologist, to be their lawyer, to be their doctor. All these different hats they expect us to have. But without that training, we can't do it. So instead of defunding, we need more funds to have more education, have people like the psychologists here to come out to teach different signs, to know about different signs to see of mental illness. There's those signs you can see. My education, juvenile forensic psychology, my master's, so I understand some, but I don't know all of it. So we need ongoing education, not just the 20 hours that they mandate us to have, but 60, 80, whatever it takes, ongoing, yearly.
And really quick, in the last 10 seconds we have, do you guys at Harris County have ongoing education, continuing education, or is it something you're exploring?
So it's continuing education. We implemented an 8-hour CIT class yearly now, so every year deputies have to take crisis intervention training. And then we equipped our deputies with tablets out in the field. They can access a clinician when they go to a call and any resources or have questions about it to somebody.
All right, thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored.